Some confusion occasionally arises in differentiating between risks and issues. Though risks and issues are often lumped together, they are actually very different, and we manage them in different ways. A risk is a potential future event that may negatively impact the project, and is managed proactively with prevention, planning, and mitigation. An issue is a current event or condition that is already impacting the project and is managed reactively with damage control. Risks are often of a technical or resource nature. Issues are more often based on a political challenge and are often where a stakeholder has gotten something wrong. Challenges like these can be a different kind of headache. Risks and issues will happen. It's a fact of life. The difference between a successful project or otherwise is how well we manage these as they come along. Next, managing risk. All projects carry risk. The possibility that events may occur that impact cost, timeline, quality, or objectives. Effective risk management helps teams anticipate challenges, minimize surprises, and increase the likelihood of project success. Managing our risks is one of the most important skills in project management. Risks, if left to themselves, are the surest way to kill your project stone dead. We need to have our radar on full alert for any potential risks. Get them documented and escalated to the stakeholders ASAP. Hint from experience: never present a risk or issue without devising some form of mitigation. Or, as was known back in my military days, don't bring me problems, bring me solutions. This one single tactic will transform you from the harbinger of doom to the bringer of light. Coffee and donuts will be assured. Waterfall and Agile methodologies take distinctly different approaches to risk. Waterfall relies on upfront planning and formal risk mitigation strategies. Agile treats risk as fluid and adaptive, managed through continuous inspection, short delivery cycles, and team-level ownership. So, to effectively manage our risks, we need to identify risks early during planning. Brainstorm potential risks with your team. Analyze risks, assess the likelihood and impact of each risk. I'll show you how to do this later. Create a risk register. Document risks, owners, response plans, mitigation, and status. It's really important that risks have owners, someone who is responsible for managing this risk. That could be you, a stakeholder, or someone else. But someone needs to own that risk. Plan responses for major risks. Outline how you will avoid, mitigate, transfer, or accept them. This is your mitigation plan. Monitor continuously as risks will evolve. Track them regularly throughout the project. Now here's an interesting fact. Sometimes the mitigation to a risk turns out to be better than the original plan. Strange, but true. Projects inevitably evolve during planning and execution, and sometimes obviating a risk is a fantastic opportunity to do things a little differently. So don't be afraid of risks. Remember, a problem is often just an opportunity in disguise. Next, we'll explore the risk management practices associated with each methodology and analyze their strengths and weaknesses. Risk management in waterfall projects. Waterfall's linear structure makes it well-suited for formal, plan-based risk management, since all project requirements are typically defined at the start. Potential risks can be forecasted and documented early. Here is a standard waterfall risk management framework. Risk identification, conducted during the planning phase. Uses methods like brainstorming, expert interviews, checklists, and historical data. Risk analysis, assess likelihood and impact, qualitative or quantitative. Often ranked using a risk matrix: low, medium, high. Risk response planning, define mitigation, avoidance, transfer, or acceptance strategies. Risk monitoring and control. Track risks through a risk register, regularly reviewed in status meetings or phase gate reviews. Escalation and governance, escalated to stakeholders or a formal. Risk review board when thresholds are breached. Strengths, provide strong documentation and audit trails. Ensures compliance with regulatory or contractual obligations. Challenges may overlook emerging risks during execution, can be slow to respond to sudden or shifting threats. Now, we will take a look at risk management in Agile projects. Agile's iterative nature assumes that not all risks can be predicted upfront. Instead, Agile incorporates built-in mechanisms to continually identify and respond to risks throughout the project. Here are some standard Agile risk management practices. Iterative delivery. Small releases reduce the cost and impact of failure. Early delivery of features helps uncover risks early. Frequent communication. Daily stand-ups allow early visibility of blockers. Sprint planning and retrospectives offer structured opportunities to raise concerns. Backlog refinement enables the team to anticipate technical or delivery-related risks. Spikes and experiments, time-boxed activities that reduce technical uncertainty before committing to a solution. Cross-functional teams encourage diverse perspectives and fast mitigation. Built-in quality, continuous integration, test automation, and peer reviews reduce defects and delivery risks. Strengths provides flexibility to respond to evolving risks. Encourages proactive team ownership of risks. Challenges, less emphasis on formal documentation. Portfolio-level risk visibility may suffer without a structured overlay. Next, hybrid risk management. Hybrid approaches combine Waterfall's formal risk governance with Agile's responsiveness. This is useful in large programs or regulated industries where parts of the project demand structure while others benefit from agility. Key practices in hybrid risk management. Formal risk register for overarching program-level risks, for example, budget overruns, regulatory non-compliance. Agile risk tracking at the team level for sprint-level risks and technical issues. Shared dashboards for real-time risk visibility across teams and leadership. Risk owner matrix to clarify responsibility at each level. Example, in a banking digital transformation program, the core banking migration was waterfall-based, requiring structured risk logs. The mobile app development followed Agile and tracked risks in the backlog. Monthly governance meetings aligned both tracks and monitored cumulative risk exposure. Best practices for risk management across methodologies. Define risk categories clearly, e.g., strategic, technical, operational, compliance. Promote a culture of openness. Encourage teams to raise risks early without fear of blame. Use technology wisely. Leverage project management tools, for example. Jira MS Project. Risk register software to track and visualize risk. Align risk approach to project phase. Upfront planning for known risks. Ongoing inspection for emergent ones. Embed risk reviews. Add risk assessments to sprint reviews and phase-end evaluations. Next, we will take a more in-depth look at this essential tool of project management. The risk register. So, what is a risk register? And why is it so important? The risk register, also known as the risk log, is a tool used to identify, assess, monitor, and manage risks throughout a project's lifecycle. It is typically a living document, updated regularly. Building a risk register is one of the most crucial components of successful project risk management. Why is a risk register important? Proactive risk management allows you to anticipate problems before they occur, rather than reacting to them. Improved communication offers transparency by providing visibility into risks for stakeholders and team members. Decision-making enables informed decisions regarding budgeting, scheduling, and resource allocation. Compliance and governance. In many organizations and industries, maintaining a risk register is a compliance requirement. Risk mitigation helps in planning risk responses, such as mitigation, acceptance, avoidance, or transference. How to build a risk register. Here's a structured process for building a risk register, applicable to both Waterfall and Agile projects. Step 1. Risk identification. Use brainstorming, interviews, SWOT analysis, historical data, or risk breakdown structures. Identify both threats and opportunities. Step 2. Define risk details. For each identified risk, define risk ID, A unique identifier, for example, R001. Risk description. A brief statement of what the risk is. Category, e.g., technical, financial, schedule, operational. Root cause, why the risk might occur. Impact area, cost, schedule, scope, quality, etc. Step 3. Qualitative risk analysis. What is the likelihood or probability of this risk happening? Rate on a scale, for example, 1 to 5 or low, medium or high. What is the potential impact or severity? Again, rate on a scale of, for example, 1 to 5 or low, medium or high. Calculate a risk score. This is the product of the likelihood value multiplied by the impact. Step 4. Risk response planning. Firstly, we need to select a response strategy. Choose from avoid, mitigate, transfer, or accept. Next, define the mitigation or contingency plan. It is also critically important that we also assign a specific risk owner. Step 5. Monitor and review. Track risk status, for example, open, in progress, closed. Update the register regularly during meetings or sprint reviews. Agile versus Waterfall usage. Waterfall typically uses a formal static risk register that is updated at key milestones. Agile incorporates risk into sprint planning, daily stand-ups, and retrospectives. Risks are often tracked on a Kanban board or Jira issue tracker, but a risk register can still be maintained for significant risks. Best practices. Update regularly, for example, weekly or bi-weekly. Prioritize risks using the Pareto principle 80/20 rule. Engage the whole team in risk identification and mitigation. Next, managing issues. Issues are different. A risk should never be a roadblock to delivery. We should always be able to find a way around. But with issues, the problem is often fundamental, and it often involves misguided stakeholders. Sorry, stakeholders, but this is a fact. Maybe they underestimate the complexity of a project, or its costs, or the resources that will be required. Maybe they have pre-selected the wrong technology or have some brilliant idea they think will get them a seat on the board. As I said before, risks are often technical in nature. Issues can be very political. So, we need to tread carefully when we are dealing with issues, because stakeholders don't like being shown up with egg on their faces, even if it is their fault. Dealing with issues effectively requires structured, timely, and transparent actions. As soon as an issue is identified, it should be logged in an issue log, detailing its nature, impact, owner, and resolution status. The issue should then be analyzed for severity. Does it affect the critical path, the budget, or our deliverables? Depending on its seriousness, it may need to be escalated to the project sponsor or steering committee. The project manager should assign clear ownership and ensure that corrective actions are defined, implemented, and tracked. Regular status meetings should include an issues review section to ensure visibility. Communication is key. Stakeholders must be informed of the issue and how it is being addressed. Finally, once resolved, the issue should be documented with lessons learned to avoid recurrence. So what do? Log the issue. Track it in an issue log with a description, owner, date, and status. Assess the impact. How urgent is the issue? What part of the project is affected? Take action. Collaborate with the team to find and implement a solution. Communicate. Keep stakeholders informed, especially if timelines or deliverables are impacted. Once in a while, we may encounter something so impactful that it will stop us in our tracks. This is what we call a major stopping issue. A major stopping issue is something that has the potential to derail the project entirely. This is not a good thing. And here's where things will get political, because everyone will be looking for someone to blame. It's up to you to ensure you are not the one who is going to carry the can. And we are going to do that by being diligent with our documentation, thorough with our requirements, and conservative with our estimates. Then, when the unwanted and entirely unexpected black swan suddenly sweeps onto your radar, you are not the one to blame. because you did everything correctly. You will be beyond reproach. Sorry to break the bad news, but we live in a political world. Not everyone is nice, and it's often important to keep one eye on having your back covered. Facts of life. In conclusion, risk and issue management is not a static checklist. It is an ongoing discipline that must adapt to the nature of the project. Waterfall's strength lies in foresight and control. Agile thrives in uncertainty and adaptability. A hybrid approach often offers organizations the best of both worlds, enabling formal oversight without sacrificing responsiveness. In our next video, we're going to take an in-depth look at another critical component of project management, and that is project communications.